Good day everybody, and welcome to Kampala Road. It's been quite a while since the last upload. I'm sorry about that. I have been travelling, and prior to going away I didn't have any power for 2 days due to a cyclone, which was the weekend I was meant to be recording. That's my excuse anyway. On a different subject matter, I've been to Uganda, and I was looking at my collection there, if you like, and I thought, gosh, I've got a lot of buffet cars or coaches. So I thought I'd do a video on it, and it's something as a child when I travelled, I loved the buffet car. Because it's the only time I used to be allowed to drink Coke, or a soft drink, or a soda, whichever one you want to call it. So, without further ado, let's have a look at a few of the buffet cars I have. So a slightly unusual setup, and on another subject, the sound on this old Class 20 is so much better than the sound on my Bachmann brand new 31. I wonder why. But anyway, this is the buffet car I remember as a child, both in this grey and in the blood and custard. So that's the Mark 1, which is ubiquitous on British Rail in the 70s and 80s and earlier. Photobombed. And while we're talking about that, this is the crimson and cream one going past. I remember that once as a young lad. Must have been about 1974, early 70s anyway, and we walked onto the concourse, Leeds City. I was going to King's Cross, and my dad was putting me on the train. I was about 4 or 5, 6 years old, and he looked at the train and said, "Ooh, you're on an old one." And I said, "What do you mean?" And he said, "Look at the colour of the carriage." Okay, so I'll switch over to Kampala now and show you the collection I have there, and then come back to Brisbane and a couple of honourable mentions. This is the BR, the classic BR grey-blue Mark 1. I remember these as a kid. This is the Bachmann model. And I've got a number of these in the different liveries. And I connected it to the restaurant car, which I also remember because I've had meals in restaurant cars. The Bachmann model stands up. It's 10 years old, maybe older. Yeah, probably older. It does stand up. I think they're really good. So that's an example of the BR Blue-Grey Mark 1. So here in Uganda, I'm looking at the collection of my buffet cars here. This is the Hornby Mark 3 HST 125 buffet car. I remember these too. Used to try and get the coach next to them, so I didn't have too far to walk to get my British Rail cheese and tomato squashed sandwich, but they did full-grown meals as well. That has the large decoupling, tension lock, and pretty well made. And we move on to the Oxford Rail. Is it Oxford Rail? Yes. Oxford Rail version. Now this doesn't say 125, it just says restaurant buffet. It has the buffers, as does the Hornby, which I believe the 125s never had buffers on, but I think you can take them off. The roof detailing is slightly different. I believe that changed over the life, the ventilation, extractor fans for the fryers, etc. But both well turned out models. I've just turned them round. This is the Oxford Rail version. I think detail wise the Oxford Rail model is better. Paint job though definitely goes to Hornby. Crisper, sharper. Hornby's model is fairly old too. I remember these, and I'll show you the one in the Intercity Swallow livery from Lima next. So this is a Lima model which predates the Hornby and the Oxford Rail, I believe. Hornby did the shorties to start with, whereas Lima went all out with the full-length coaches. Very, very colourful livery. It really looks good on the 125. Looks good on the loco haul train as well. Is that slightly out of focus? Just move that back a bit. Very colourful. Big D couplings on the end, but given the age, a really good model. I'll just turn it round. I re-wheeled my Lima. I got a whole rake of these for the 125. I re-wheeled them all, so I bought these coaches dirt cheap, but then of course re-wheeling them costs more than the actual coaches. But a very nice model. This is the Virgin version of the Mark III buffet from Hornby. What am I doing of a Virgin one? Well, back in 2018, Rails of Sheffield were clearing out Virgin HSTs. This is the other side, and believe it or not, Rails were clearing out the HST pack, that's the power car and a dummy car, for I think £79. And this is just before they fell out with Hornby, and I think it was because they were something about clearing out at cheap prices. I bought two, and I use them as, I don't use them on my layout, I use them as spare parts for the British Rail ones, which are older. So that's the Virgin Mark III HST, and I'll just show you the Hornby Shorty, which I was talking about earlier on. This is even another livery I don't fiddle with or play with, although I love it. I think this is one of the best liveries that there ever was when privatisation took over. That is a GNER version, but the Shorty. Why I've got it, I've got no idea. Just one of those stupid buys. It probably cost about £5. Something a little bit different, 12-wheel, 68-foot restaurant car. I found on my Kampala Rd Mark 1 layout, this used to come off the track a bit, to be honest, and it's nothing to do with the coach, it was to do with my appalling track laying. Some of these models I've never opened before, and this is one of them. This is the Mark IIF restaurant buffet by Bachmann. Brand new, never opened the box until I got it out now to do this. I believe only 2 or 3 were made of these in real life. It's a great looking model, comes with a huge accessory kit in the box, but I've never used it and I'd love to use it. Now you've got these upgraded Accurascale coaches, this would fit rather nicely. I am tempted to take this back to Australia, but anything I take back to Australia has got to come back here, so I'm really fighting and struggling against myself to take a loco. For example, I've got the BR Blue Western here, Dapol version. I'm really keen to take that back, but the heart says take it back, the head says leave it here until the layout arrives back. Great coach that, beautiful looking thing. Yeah, really like that, good looking, good looking. Couple more Mark 2s, oh sorry, Mark 1s. Southern Green, Bachmann, they are very good. They're quite weighty models, good roof detail, I'll show you, separate fitted water pipes on the roof, I'll show you that in a minute. And then the maroon British Rail, both the same side, exactly the same detail, roof. As you can see here, The general roof details, separate water pipes, ventilation, coverings. You can just see some tables and chairs inside there, more water pipes at the end. The issue I have with these liveries is they hide the detail, and I'm going to show you the crimson and cream version, and that is, although the same model, looks far superior. And it's down to the paintwork. It just highlights all the detail in so much a nicer way than these two liveries do. So the other side. Some good roof detail. Again, good quality coaches. I think I've had these for about 10 years now. These two have done quite a bit of work on my layout, the first version. But they'll stay here and wait for the day when we have the Grizzly Teak Hornby model. Got these in 2018, I think. I did a video on all of them. I'll see if I can find a link for that. Beautiful, beautiful coaches. And great detail on this. I'll see if I can get a bit closer. I think you can just see the bar in there. Coming out of focus again. Oops, sorry. Yeah. I mean, these coaches were the creme de la creme, I think, until, well, they're up there with the Bachmann buffet coaches, but I think the Acura scale Mark IIs have really upped the game, or upped the bar, if you like, on coaches. But these are good, and I think all the concentration from Hornby was getting the teak to look right, which is very, very good. The interior is a little bit bland. If you look at the normal Grizzly Teaks, you could accuse them of skimping on that to get the exteriors correct. So yeah, this, I've turned it around. They are beautiful. Fairly weighty, not overweight though. And I believe they're quite expensive these days, up in the 60s or 70 pounds a coach. Which is when you've got to add 300 plus pounds for a loco pulling it, plus a rake of these, the whole train becomes fairly exy. Something a bit different, the Mark IV. Now, I've never had a 225 or Class 91 hauled train. I toyed with the idea, hence I've got this, but never pursued it, partly because the train's too long for the layout. And when I was toying with the idea, the uprated version of the Class 91 wasn't out, it was still the ring-filled motor version. So here we are on the Mark I Crimson and Cream, and I think this is the best of all the Mark I buffet cars because of the livery, accentuates the detail. And this is slightly different from the previous two I showed you, the Southern Region and the Maroon. It has more grills on the windows, like it's slightly older design, maybe, and different detail on the roof, which I'll show you. But I just think this looks so much better in this livery, albeit same coach. So the separately fitted water pipes run almost 60% of the way along the roof, which is not the case on the other two. I just think this one is so good, it looks great. Now, I remember, one of my memories again, seeing one of these at Leeds City, even in the 70s. I remember seeing Crimson and Cream. Rare, I know, but I do remember it because my dad made a disparaging comment about them. Just to show you that roof detail, those water pipes do go past the halfway mark on this coach. Just think it's a wonderful model, this. Yeah, my dad saw it and said, "Oh, you're on an old train today." as he said goodbye and left me on there. Yep, beautiful model. Bachmann, yeah, their coaches are, I think at the time, were better than Hornby's. Right, moving towards the 80s. This is the Network Southeast version of the coach we've just seen. Different roof detail. They must have upgraded them, modified them. The water pipes only run to just under halfway. But fundamentally, looks fairly similar. A couple of blocked out windows there. Again, this is a Bachmann model. I never actually saw one of these. Just turned it round. I think if you run a loco haul train with 6 or 7 coaches, you must have a buffet car involved. Just a wonderful bit of kit. So the last of the Mark 1s I have here in Kampala, and you can see it's a fairly dusty model. That's because it's used heavily on the old layout. The Intercity Swallow livery. No water pipes on the roof at all. I guess everything was internal by then. Confession to make on this, I bought this in Papua New Guinea, it moved to Australia, moved to Uganda. Probably about 3 years after I bought it, I opened the box and dropped it immediately. And it smashed, it broke into many pieces. I was aghast, and you can imagine the language used. Hence you may see a missing buffer. Just turn it around so you can see a lot of ventilation on the roof. Same window configuration, although there's a plated out window here. And that, I've seen videos of those in blue-grey rakes, intercity rakes, all sorts. They tended to end up anywhere, and that's how I used it. But a bit dusty, but that's the last of the Mark 1s here. Finally here, this looks a bit like a Gresley, or was a Gresley teak, I don't know. Somebody can put in the comments. This was cheap, in the cheap bin, in a model shop in Bury St Edmunds. I think it was about £19. So I grabbed it. Hornby, nice detail. It looks a little bit out of place unless you've got the other coaches that match it. If you put this in a Mark 1 rake, it looks a bit out of place. But I think I have seen pictures of these in Mark 1 rakes. I'll turn it around. Some good detail inside. I don't know the quality of the food you get in these things. I'd imagine they cared back then. Again, nice model. Couple of honourable mentions. This is a BR Grizzly maroon buffet. I don't have the remaining train. Not sure why I even bought it, probably because it's a buffet car, but there you go. And finally, not opened, but the Acura Scale Mini Buffet Mark II C. Hope you can see that. I've not opened that. I think I have opened it actually, yes, but not had it on the rails. I probably should get that out. Anyway, that's it from Kampala Rd and this one. I'm sorry there was such a long break between the last video and this one. There's a few more coming up. One quite interesting one, which has got nothing to do with my layout, but a friend of mine asked me to bring the loco home, or bring the loco here I should say, from Uganda and do a test run. So, and it has nothing to do with BR Blue. I bought it, so I brought it with me, halfway around the world just for you, Richard, and that'll be the next video. And a few more after that, including the installation of the turntable. But for now, from Kampala Road, cheers for now.